Okay. Thank you very much. My name is Moncrieff. I'm from Analytics. We're a small group based in Cape Town. And I'm going to be talking to you about visualizing thresholds. So I'm really just talking about one plot, which is good because I've got 5 minutes, and one application of that one plot. So we had a client who tasked us with visualizing trader behavior and trying to compare that trader behavior to some thresholds, currency trading. And my background is in environmental sciences, in ecology, and when I thought about how best to visualize this, the first thing that stood out to me was this really well-known paper, really high-impact paper in environmental sciences that was published a few years ago. And this is by this author, Jonas Rockström, in a big science journal. And this visualization of planetary boundaries and how these boundaries are, the green circles in the middle show you the sort of the limits, the boundary, and the red bars show you how those boundaries are exceeded or not exceeded. And this visualization this visualization itself has resulted in the paper being very high impact, and it's had a real big impact on thinking in environmental sciences. So like I said, the green bar in the middle shows you the safe space defined by the boundary. The red bars exceeding that boundary show you how far that boundary has been exceeded. And the nice thing about this plot is that you can show a whole bunch of different variables, and every variable is then just scaled according to how you define the boundary. So it doesn't matter what different scales your thresholds are on. So the way we applied this is that we had a client which was a Malaysian bank which offers online forex trading, and they had a consultant who defined a set of rules to try and encourage better trading behavior in their clients. These rules were essentially set out to, rather than strictly define this is how you ought to behave, the rules were set out to define this is how it's better not to behave. So this creates more space for people to have their own strategies and own options, but simply excluding certain kinds of behaviors. And that application works well for this visualization and in general to try and encourage sort of behavioral change. Rather than narrowly defining acceptable behaviors, you define unacceptable behaviors, and that creates more space for behavioral change. So we created this visualization comparing to these rules that the consultant had created, and then we set up a system to automate report generation for the traders. So we have this set of rules, and we create a plot for each rule. Some of the plots not so pretty that the traders themselves might not want to look at. They might not want to spend time going through this. So what we try to do is summarize all of these rules into one plot that will jump out at the trader when they look at their report and hopefully get some sort of behavioral modification. So we get those rules and we summarize it into this simple plot where the blue space is the safe space defined by the thresholds, and the red bars coming out show you how far you have exceeded or not exceeded the rules. And if you think about how this plot is constructed, it's simply just a bar plot that's been wrapped around in polar coordinates. And it's very easy to create with a few lines of code in ggplot. Making it pretty takes a few more lines of code, but the main functions are simply calling ggplot with a data frame with 3 columns. One column is the rule, one column is the variable that you have. So you might have, and the code will scale your actual metric to the rule that you've got. And then you create a bar plot where the second red box is, and in the last line, coord polar wraps that bar plot in polar coordinates. So you have a nice circular plot that looks pretty and fits nicely on a page and jumps out at who's ever looking at it. The way that we went around implementing this was create a simple Shiny app where the trader themselves wouldn't go to this, but some sort of relationship manager at the bank would go to this, generate the reports automatically, and send them out to the traders with this sort of plot jumping out in the first page of that report. And maybe if they were interested, they'd go on further, but hopefully that this plot jumping out would sort of get their attention straight away. So you click on the drop down, you get the trader's name, and use a little button in Shiny that'll automatically download a PDF for you. Those nice functions to automatically grab a PDF out of your Shiny app are this download button on the UI automatically puts in a button that, when clicked, runs this code over here, which renders, and this function here in the server.r download handler automatically runs R Markdown code, and you can pass parameters to that R Markdown code to automatically generate your report. So you can look at this code if you're interested in doing this sort of application in Shiny. Thank you.